All right, good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is to you guys. It's evening for me here, 7:30 p.m. in my time. Go ahead and give a shout out what time it is in your area. I think I'm liking doing these later in the evening now rather than earlier in the day. I think we can grab more people that way. I know people like Knut are over in Europe, and it's really early morning for him. Yeah, like really early morning. Like, what is it there? About 2:30 a.m., 3:30. Hey Andrew, good to see you. Sydney, J Lopez, Star Wars 95, Cutting Force Lawn Services, Sydney. I said you already, but I'll say you again. Sydney, DR, good to see you, buddy. And Zlatan, and I thought I saw Knut in here. There he is. Hey Knut, good to see you, buddy. And thank you all for joining me tonight and day, morning, whatever. Whew, it's been a whirlwind day. Not feeling the best. I went and got my first shot for the COVID vaccine. I had to do it for work, so yeah, I wasn't real pleased about doing it. But I have to have a job. I have to work. So yeah, don't judge me. Go ahead, DR. What's your news, buddy? Um, Also, I am Gerald. I am a Star Wars fanatic. If you don't know me, you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. If you haven't done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a comment for the video when it's all done. And I will pick one comment to highlight at the end of my next video, just like I've done for the last week or so, maybe 2 weeks. Also, if you sign on as a member, you are registering yourself to win a Spider Man 2099 figure from Hot Toys and Sideshow Collectibles, donated by one of our friends here. Hey, Franco, good to see you. Argentina. Wow, that's awesome. Star Wars 95, 7:30 as well. Huh. Yes, Star Wars or Spider-Man 96, the prequels were good. Were great. Um, I'm not going to say they were perfect. No Star Wars movie's been perfect. Um, but they were good and they were not bad. I know a lot of people are big fans of the prequels, and I became more of a fan of the prequels after the Clone Wars came out, as did a lot of people. I wasn't a hater when the prequels came out at all, by any means. I didn't like Jar Jar. I still don't like Jar Jar 23 years later. Um, and it's not due to the actor. He did his best for the job. And I mean, I'm sure George Lucas meant him to be a little 12-year-old's happy place, but wound up being a 30 something year old man's bane of existence. The new Boba Fett, instead of entering a room saying, I'm Boba Fett, he says, I'm Gerald. Left for dead on the way. Wrong person. Nice. Yeah, all Star Wars is good. And yesterday I ruffled a lot of feathers and lost a lot of subscribers because, I was just saying quit being toxic. And I guess the toxic people didn't like me saying they were toxic. Um, a lot of them didn't even finish watching the video, so they don't know what the entire thing was about or what the entire message was actually about. That message was about toxicity and hate. It was not about complaining. It wasn't about critiquing or anything like that. Critiquing art is one way to make art grow. It's a satisfactory form of making art grow, and it makes an artist aspire to be better. I am an artist. I know that if somebody critiques it and says, hey, this line could be a little better, it doesn't ruin the whole drawing, but this line could be a little better, or this shading could use a little touch up here. I don't get upset about it, and I don't go calling them names and then throwing my pencil down saying I'm never drawing again. But if somebody comes at me and say, man, your work is trash, you're such an idiot, I'm going to put my pen down. I'm never going to draw again. Not if one person says it, but if people bombard me with that, and that's mostly what I hear. It's easier to believe negative than it is positive. So yeah, there's that. So kept getting called a shill and all this stuff. And yeah, I know it's neat because you like something, you're a shill. I'm sorry, have you ever been to Disney World? The place is amazing. Yeah, you're gonna say you like Disney after going to Disney World. It's better than a local flea market, I'll tell you that. Have I seen the Book of Boba Fett 1985? No, I have not. I think I've. Wait a minute. I think I did the the preview. Yeah, that was awesome. Hey, Knut, good to see you, buddy. Uh, yeah, the toxic folks left. There was one guy that just kept hovering around in the live chat, and then he left a comment and everything. I was like, you know what? Best of wishes to you, buddy. If you want to stick around, stick around. If you don't, leave. Whatever. I don't care. I mean, you seem like one of those Doom Wiener fans anyway, so whatever. Nice. Glad you enjoyed it. I always enjoy it. It's different. New in a good way. Wait a minute. What am I looking at? Hey, porn's back. Strippers with their clothes on. Oh yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a live stream yesterday. I did a couple live streams yesterday playing video games. One was Fortnite, and somebody commented on there, sent a link to porn and said strippers with their clothes off. And I thought that was kind of funny because I didn't know strippers kept their clothes on ever. So I just started singing strippers with their clothes on. Yeah, kind of made me happy. I liked it. Hey, Don, good to see you. Oh, man, the regulars are here. I love it. I love it. There's 25 people in. This is awesome. Everybody give a shout out. Say who you are. Say, hey, we're all friends here. Except for you, Bazuo Shovbaz. You can quit leaving your porn on my damn channel. Hey, look, if you like drama, there's daytime TV. Absolutely. And sometimes I get frustrated. It seems like I'm starting drama, and maybe I am antagonizing it a little bit just to weed out who the problem children are. And it worked pretty well. I lost about 10 people. Fine, whatever. Hey, thank you for taking care of that, Knut. We don't need those porn people hawking their wares in our live stream. DR the meme editor. And Clan Durag forever, guys. Clan Durag House, whatever y'all want to call it. House Fett. We'll go with House Fett. Let's move him from a one-man clan all the way into a house. So yeah, yesterday I was just, I don't know, I was in a rare mood and kind of pissed off because I read some comments on Facebook and people kept saying Star Wars is dead. Disney destroyed Star Wars, and then it was on there again today. So instead of making a video about it and going on about it, I went on there and I just started blasting people. They were saying neat things like Disney's only out for the money, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, when you provide a service, you do like to get a return on your investment and a little bit more. That's why you make the product. Nobody goes after an apple orchard and says, you're only after it for the money. Well, they are. They have a living. They have people they have to pay. They have a bottom line. They need money too. But because we have to eat apples or any other kind of food, we don't attack the food industry like that, which I think the food industry is bigger crooks than anybody in the entertainment industry. Honestly, that's just my opinion, though. Yeah, hit that like button, everybody. Everybody hit that like button. Jack Sphere, good to see you. Prequels made me want to love the original trilogy. Oh, see, I was born 4.5 years prior to the original trilogy, so I did get to see those on opening night. If anybody didn't know, a lot of you old timers that have been with the channel for a long time know that I've seen all the movies on opening night since 1977. But I was old enough to do that, and I remember every bit of it. I remember every moment sitting there with my mom, and I think my dad was there. I don't know. It wasn't that important, I guess. No, my mom and dad were there, and my sister. And then we went a second time with my aunt. She saw it with us. And I loved it. And I didn't get to see it again for 3 years until The Empire Strikes Back came out, and they did a double feature. Yeah, Disney didn't even make Grogu merch. Somebody commented something awesome yesterday on my video, my rant, my evil Disney shill rant. Let me see if I can find it. Give me just a second. I screenshotted it because I love this freaking comment. Anyways, it was something to the tune of And Star Wars 95, you'll probably remember this. Um, Something to the tune of, since the Disney era, we've got 5 new movies, at least 2 or 3 more on the way. We've got 4 new series, seventh season to the Clone Wars, comics, novels, children's books, coloring books, all kinds of stuff that add to the story of Star Wars. Stuff we would not have got in 10 years under George Lucas. Under 10 years of George Lucas, we got 3 movies, and, well, it was more like 18 years. We got 3 movies and an animated series. I mean, nothing against him. He was one guy trying to do it all, but he sold it to a company that could do more with it and expand on it, and they did. And I want to get into a little bit of that too. Um, I think I figured out a lot of the issues with the sequels. Not that they're big issues for me, as you all know. I like the sequels. Yeah, it might be social suicide saying that, but we all like what we like. I don't hate on anybody for not liking them. You're allowed to not like them, but I like them for a whole other reason than anybody else. Would I say I'm just as much of a shill as Star Wars Santa? Hell yeah, I am. Yeah, more games and merch. And so let's look at it like this. When the sequels were started, Kathleen Kennedy had just taken over Lucasfilm. Just took it over. She really had not much part in Lucasfilm or Star Wars before that. Well, Lucasfilm, yes, because she did work on the Indiana Jones stuff and E.T. and that kind of thing. I don't think E.T.'s Ambien, and I don't think that's anything to do with, but it's still, what's his name? Steven Spielberg, who works with George Lucas. So Kathleen Kennedy knows a little bit about George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, but she didn't know anything about Star Wars. She takes over as head of Star Wars, appointed there by George Lucas himself. George Lucas put her as the president of Lucasfilm before he left, as he was going out the door. Disney honored that and kept her in there. She's highly proficient at movie producing, but she didn't know anything about Star Wars. However, she wanted the fans to have something. And the first thing you think of when you have a 6-movie saga is make 3 more saga movies. And let's do it quick. Let's get them out there so the fans have something that they can go hoorah over. Well, they got them out there, but they hired people that didn't know much about Star Wars. They were just getting their feet wet at this time, trying to produce these movies. And I'm sure people in the creative team or the story group are going, wait a minute, wait. And they're like, we're in charge. Ha ha, screw you. So Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams don't know much about the Star Wars fandom. They can say they were fans and all that stuff, but I think Rian Johnson's probably the biggest fan of all of them. And I don't think he's really that big of a fan. But they make these movies, and then they're poorly received. Horribly received. It was a learning lesson. And now look at where the boat's going. The ship's righting in the direction that it should have been all along. But how many of us take over a job and know exactly what we're doing right away? How many of us don't screw up? Yes, Star Wars is something big to screw up on. It's something big to screw the fans over on. The fans would have complained either way because Disney bought it, whatever. But that's my take on it. Whew. Yes, if not for Kathleen Kennedy, then Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni wouldn't really have the Mandalorian thing going on. I mean, they jumped in and said, all right, we got to fix this. Let's do something now. And they did. So I'm starting a new job, New York and Massachusetts, good to see you. I have ADHD really bad, so I just all over the place. So when I take over my new job coming up next Tuesday, I'm not going to know what the F I'm doing. I can wing it. I can make it look like I know what I'm doing. And I can make them believe I know what I'm doing. But I'm going to screw something up. It's nature. It's what happens. I've screwed things up every time I've taken over a job. I mean, any supervisor or management role I've taken, I've screwed something up in the first 6 months, first year. But then you grow into it and you get better. and you push yourself to do better than anybody had before you. And that's when everybody says, geez, I'm glad we hired this guy. All right. So that's my rant. It's not really a rant. It's just a way of explaining why people see things as bad in the sequel trilogy. Me, I understand that stuff. I'm a writer, freelance, sort of fake ass writer, I guess. I write my own fan fictions and whatnot. They're not very good, but I understand the complications that come with writing and stuff, and I can't imagine having a deadline to do it all in, even though Knut will tell you he does pressure me a little bit to hurry up and get some stories done. That last bit of Jango Fett fan fiction took a while. I mean, that was over an hour long, so yeah, it took me a bit. So, let's look at the prequels. That is the premise of this video, the Star Wars prequels. Hallelujah. I don't want to call them the Golden Grail or anything, because they have their faults just like everything else. Faults being, I'm going to start with the faults. Why? Because that's what I do when I do reviews. Dialogue was poor. Some of the direction was bad. Overuse of CGI from Jar Jar Binks, Attack of the Clones, mostly those things. Too much CGI. And if you think CGI was in its prime at that time and it was a great technology to use and everything, just remember that ugly Jabba the Hutt that we got with the special editions. His eyes went blah, you know, he looked more like a Looney Tunes character than Jabba the Hutt. And Star Wars Politics is in the house. Just checking on y'all, seeing how you're doing. Jango should have been Attack of the Clones. Yeah. Yeah, see? Okay, so, yeah, the dialogue was horrible. I think George Lucas would have benefited greatly had he hired Lawrence Kasdan to do the screenplay like he had Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Because once he did A New Hope, which was called Star Wars originally, guys, I'm going to call it Star Wars probably, and A New Hope, so just kind of bear with me on that. But when he finished A New Hope, he realized the dialogue was horrible. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, everybody in that, Alec Guinness, Peter Cushing, all of them told him the dialogue is so bad. This is bad dialogue. And he was going for that soap opera feel and everything. And I get that, but, you know, it was subpart of soap opera acting at the time. Days of Our Lives was golden compared to the dialogue in A New Hope. So he hired Lawrence Kasdan to do Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and fixed it. And amazing movies. They're all amazing movies. All of them. They've all set standards for the movie industry. Every one of the Star Wars movies has done that. But then he goes to do the prequels and he decides he's going to cut corners. He's going to try the dialogue himself and all that. Well, after Phantom Menace, he should have realized, like he did during A New Hope, this dialogue sucks, man. I need to hire Lawrence Kasdan again. And it's not, you can't say Lawrence Kasdan wasn't willing to do it because he went on board with his son to do Solo. He likes Star Wars. He likes writing for Star Wars. Last Jedi bonus disc. Oh yeah. I need to get a UHD player because that's what I have. I have all of them on UHD and I don't have a UHD player. So I'm kind of stuck not watching any of the bonus stuff. I can watch the movies on Disney Plus, but most of my stuff is collectible to me, at least. Hang on a second, I'll show you something. Such as this. Yeah, that's an original VHS's. See? But that's not the original. This is the original. The original VHS's. I still have them. I keep them in great shape. The box is a little rough, but I bought this the moment it came out on VHS. So I can't remember what day it is. Wow, they're dusty. I need to clean them. Anyways, so that's my VHS collection of Star Wars. Yeah, I have the original VHS before the special editions, so I can watch them. But I'd like to find them on digital or something. Um, so yeah, that's the pride of my collection. I keep those hidden. I don't leave them out where anybody can see them at all, because I don't know who's going to be down here. I don't believe anybody's going to steal anything, but yeah. So the Clone Wars, or sorry, whew, the prequels, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith were great movies. Phantom Menace would have been a better movie had the dialogue been better and Darth Jar Jar was not there. I don't care if he's supposed to have been a Sith. It doesn't matter to me. He was annoying. He should have been thrown off of the edge of a planet. A ring world would have been nice. Just chuck him right off there. Sorry, he is the only character in Star Wars that I don't like. And it's nothing against Ahmed Best. He did his best with that part. And I give him so much congratulations for being able to pull that off as well as he did, because it was just a horribly written character. Uh, awesome, Patrick. That is great. Star Wars politics. Money. I want that so bad. Yeah, so the good parts. The opening scene to Revenge of the Sith is probably my favorite opening scene to any Star Wars movie at all. It's when it starts out and it shows the two Jedi starfighters, Obi-Wan and Anakin's, just casually flying around a Republic cruiser. You're thinking, that's nice. Look at that. There's a sunrise or sunset, as if you prefer, coming up over Coruscant. And then they take that turn and go down. And it's just the tension. You're like, holy shit. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And it just grabs you. From that moment, it grabs you. Anakin's acting during that part is a little stiff. I'm sorry, Master, but you could blame that on the directing. I've seen Hayden Christensen in a bunch of other stuff, and he's an awesome actor. He was a great actor in those things. But George Lucas admittedly cannot write dialogue. He even said it himself. I'm horrible with dialogue. He's great with special effects. He's a special effects guy. He's the guy. He created most of the industry for special effects. So they are the story. I love the stories in them. The "Are you an angel?" that could have been left out, but it lasted like 3 seconds, and I think I'm good with it. Yeah, Gerald uses bad words once in a great while, not very often. I try not to. I try to be respectful to you guys, and I try to be respectful to my wife. I don't really cuss around her all that much, but man, you get me at work, and I get fired up, and the f bombs flying. I don't know, but I kind of like how I look with this new camera. Sup, baby? That's right, Christensen. Everybody mispronounces that. It is not Christensen. It is Christensen. And if I ever get to meet the guy, I'm going to say, nice to meet you, Hayden Christensen. And so the stories of the prequels are great. I love them. The politics could have been left out, or at least trimmed back a little bit. The racial defining of the enemies, that could have been left back a little bit. I don't like how they portrayed the Nemoidians with a heavy Japanese accent. That kind of bothered me. But I got over it. And I'm pretty sure Japanese and Asians got over it. Or maybe that's why we don't do well in the Chinese market. I don't know. But I didn't like that. It seemed like racial profiling to me. And I'm not into that kind of thing. But, George Lucas is what it is. George Lucas's own politics were put into it, just as Kathleen Kennedy's politics are put into the new stuff. Ooh, that's an interesting theory, that George Lucas put his left-wing politics into Star Wars. How so? Well, I don't know. Look at the entire empire. It's called the Empire for a reason. They have a giant military, spending all their money on military and giant military stuff. Who's that remind you of? I don't know, the American government, perhaps? And they're kind of, if you look at the First Order, their uniforms are eerily close to Nazi uniforms. They even have the little white band around it telling which unit they belong to. Yeah, I know a little bit about World War II uniforms. But yes, George Lucas did put his own politics into it. Newt Gunray is a crossover between Newt Gingrich and Ronald Reagan. So he even admitted that. He hates Ronald Reagan and he hates Newt Gingrich, who are both right-wing politicians. So tell me George Lucas isn't a left-wing politician and sold it to a left-wing company. It's just the way it is. Most of the entertainment industry is liberal, and that's fine. I mean, to each his own. I don't care about politics. Just give me my Star Wars. Get that greeting on camera. Which greeting? I forget which one you were talking about. Hello, baby. That one? Yeah, I'm having fun with it. Yeah, politics in Star Wars is crazy. I just don't think 12-year-olds understood trade disputes and the inner workings of bureaucracy in a galactic senate. I don't know. Luckily, I was a political science major at the time, and I understood what it meant. A lot of people didn't. I mean, but the biggest problem with the prequels is that it was predictable. We knew what was going to happen. We knew Darth Vader was going to turn to the dark side. We knew Obi-Wan Kenobi was going to go hide in the desert around Luke. We knew Leia was going to go to Alderaan. We knew that Yoda was going to go to Dagobah. We knew the rest of the Jedi were going to get killed. Did that make it less impactful when it actually happened? No, it broke my freaking heart. I hated it when Anakin was turning to the dark side in front of Padme and she was begging him. I was like, come on, Anakin, just don't do it now. Do it another time off camera or something. Don't do it now. Just be a good Jedi and just let's end this movie on a positive note. But at the same time, I was like, I want to see freaking Darth Vader. I want to see him slashing and slicing, but we didn't really understand that we weren't going to see Darth Vader in the suit as much until the end. But at the same time, it made it really impactful. That scene, between that scene and the duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, are probably my favorite scenes of all the prequels because of the heart that's in it. That's the best acting I've seen Hayden Christensen do at that time. And Ewan McGregor did an amazing job, and Natalie Portman even did okay. I'm passionate with geopolitics since 8 years old. Wow. That's awesome. And I'll say this. A lot of Europeans learn about politics a lot younger than Americans do, unless Americans take the time to go learn it. But anyways, so his actual turn to the dark side ripped my heart out. I'm not going to lie, I cried in the movie theater. I knew it was coming. It was predictable. We all knew it was coming. And even back in like 1980 or 81, I knew how he was going to lose his limbs and turn into Darth Vader. There was a rumor that went around through a magazine back then where George Lucas said Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi fight near a volcano and Anakin gets thrown in and burned. And that's how he loses his limbs and his skin and becomes more machine than man. I knew that back in 1980 or 81. I don't know if I can find that article again. I forget. It might have been in Sci-Fi Magazine or Fangoria or something like that. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, that's another thing, DR. Good call on that. I loved seeing the Slave One in action. We didn't get to see it in action in the original trilogy. It just flew away at one point, and then it flew towards at another point, and that was all we got to see. But in Attack of the Clones, we really got to see it go. The CGI in Attack of the Clones made me feel like I was watching a video game. Didn't make it less cool. I like video games. It just was a little too much. A little too much. Even the actors said it was hard for them to act when they had no real props. They had green screen everywhere, even under their feet. the easy analogy that could be made from the prequels era with the time we live in now, and all subsequent subject matters are so interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Garbotoxins, good to see you. Thank you for joining. And you say the prequels work as well as they do because of the viewer knowledge of the original trilogy. It makes for great dread, both there and in the Clone Wars. Yeah, definitely, definitely, and I think that's why it kind of ripped my heart out at the end of Revenge of the Sith, because I knew it was coming, I knew it was going to happen, and it just hurt. Now, one thing that I thought was stupid in Revenge of the Sith is no explanation to Padme dying. I know there's a theory going around. I'm also buying into that theory that Palpatine actually killed Padme after Anakin choking her. But in the movie, they just made it sound like she's dying of sad. She's got two babies to live for, man. Why would she be dying of sad? I mean, Anakin lost all of his limbs, had all of his skin and hair burnt off. He lived. I'm sure he was sad. He was really angry. And especially when he learned that Padme died. I mean, wouldn't he be sad enough to die too? I mean, he thought his wife and kid died. He didn't know he had two kids that lived. Yeah, they did give us great memes. So yeah, I like the prequels. I don't watch them as much as I do the other films, and not for bad reason or anything. I need to. I need to get back to them. Start with the Phantom Menace and work all the way through all 11 films, and just go to town with some popcorn. Some popcorn and maybe a giant bottle of rum. I think by the end of that 24-hour excursion, I'll be pretty forsnickered. You know how she dies, the same way Jango died in Qui-Gon, not being in. Nice. Obi-Wan Kenobi, good to see you. Padme's death was horribly written. Yes, it was. Absolutely. And that doesn't mean it was bad that she died. It just means that they could have gave better reason. I mean, here we are 20 years later, 19 years later, and we still don't have a good reason for Padme dying. And I'm not saying that makes the whole trilogy ruined. It doesn't, because her funeral was just, that was heartbreaking too. Even Jar Jar, I felt bad for that guy walking by her. He's all sad and whatnot, and people were crying, and they weren't just crying about Padme dying, because her dying meant the death of the Republic. She was the loud voice in the Republic that kept it on the right course, and then she died, and that meant the Republic died with her, and here comes the Empire. I love how the birth of Vader is intercut with the birth of Luke and Leia. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, Garbotoxins. If you look at the floor when they showed down on Darth Vader, it's the Imperial symbol, and it's really dark in the room. And when Padme dies, it's really light. There's a lot of light in the room. It's not dark and dreary like the Darth Vader thing. You'd think Darth Vader was coming back to life in a basement. Well, not like my basement, but like a dungeon. Yeah, the music is bad. And the music in the prequels is probably some of the best John Williams has done. And I know everybody's going to hate me for this one, but close your eyes, don't watch the movie, but listen to Rey's theme in the sequels. That's probably one of the most beautifully written pieces that John Williams has ever done. Aside from the Yoda theme and Padme's funeral. Those three pieces I could listen to over and over. Yeah, it was. It was a horrible tragedy. Yeah, her cause of death was just. I mean, and that's not being critical. That's not being toxic, saying George Lucas did a bad job writing her death. But, and I'm not saying I hate him. He's an idiot and he ruined the films for me and my life's over. And no, none of that. It's just, come on, dude. It's 20 years later. Let's Let's have a reason why she died. Let's go with the Palpatine killed her thing to keep Vader angry. Works for me. Geezer, you in here? You are. Look at you. Hey, I like Norwegian black metal too, man. In Flames. Let's go with some In Flames. I wish I could listen to some right here. I don't think they're Norwegian though, are they? They're Swiss, maybe. But I like In Flames. The Boba meme is the best one. Fett hum dum da dum hum dum da bo da. Fett hey. Thanks, DR. I needed that laugh, buddy. Oh man. So yeah, I like the prequels. I did talk with another YouTuber earlier about the prequels. There are issues with it, and there are issues with the original trilogy too. I mean, for crap's sakes, Luke kissed his sister twice. Ew. I think that whole sister thing could have been written a little bit better at that point. Yes, I am drinking orange juice because I'm feeling a little under the weather and I'm trying to get my vitamin C on. From the beginning of episode 1. Yeah, and if you look at it, episode 1, a lot of people hated it walking out. They said it's too shiny. It looks too new. The technology looks too new. And it doesn't look dirty like it does in the original trilogy. When there's no war going on, things seem to stay a little cleaner. Just saying. You don't have a clean Sherman tank going into Germany. You don't have a clean Tiger II going into the Eastern Front. You don't have clean M1s over in the Middle East. They're not shiny. So, yes, the Naboo fighters were shiny because they didn't really have a war. What else did they have to do other than sit around and clean their ships? Who were we talking with the other day? Talking about Jar Jar with force sensitivity, and I came out with this thing. I said, "Misa gonna read your mind now, okay day." Hey, that didn't need to be a thing. Why did Luke and Leia have to get kissy at first? Right, it was disgusting. Hey, Hemi Roar, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Luke and Leia, I mean, they were full on tongue and everything. I mean, they were getting it. And I mean, if Han and Chewie weren't in there, they cared about the droids. She'd have been in that hospital bed with him. Gosh. And then can you imagine the repercussion after that one when they find out they're siblings? Ugh. You had your hoo-hoo on me and everything. Knut, are you still in here? I haven't seen anything from you in a minute. There he is. Yeah, you can actually die from sadness, Knut, and I get that. A broken heart is a real thing. But how many people do we know that's died from one? Friends laugh when you do Yoda impressions. Hey, thanks, Latin. I really appreciate that, Leo, buddy. Yeah, it took me a while to try to work on that Jar Jar voice. It's messed up because I think he's the only voice I can do in Star Wars. Misa gonna make a video now, okay day? Yeah, so, I mean, I like making fun of Jar Jar, and I don't like him as a character. He's got a good design. Before I saw Phantom Menace, I drew a picture of Jar Jar. It was really good. I liked it. I liked the picture. I liked the look of him. I liked the design of Jar Jar with the duck bill and the floppy ears and everything. And then he goofed his way on to said, "Yuck, I'm goofy." And you're like, oh dear God, what is this? I mean, he full on straddles poor Qui-Gon like a dog humping a leg. Like the contrast of the cleaner warfare in the prequels to the OT. The Republic is not the little guy like the rebels were. Right. The rebels were picking up scraps and trying to use them. You know, they had Hammerhead corvettes and regular corvettes and medical frigates and It was just all pieced together from different areas. The Mon Calamari home base ship. It was all crazy. The kiss was for Han's benefit. Jealousy. Yeah, I agree with that, Dawn. I mean, she was trying to make Han jealous, but I mean, it's funny to think about. Sorry, I just jumped on. See the early Lego game release date pulled forward. What do you mean? Did they pull it closer to now, or did they move it farther away? Because I mean, how many times are they going to move the date of that thing? Rather be in Norway than America. I'm planning on going to Norway one day. My wife and I were talking about that the other day. In fact, I think hopefully by next spring, she and I are going to take a train out west and see the Grand Canyon and stuff and do a train tour of that. And I will not be doing a donkey ride. There is no way in hell you're going to get me on the side of a cliff on a rickety donkey. Because my luck, the dude will have rickets or something, and he'll fall off the cliff, and I'll go tumbling down with him, and I'm not into that. I don't feel like falling and dying. I'm not into that kind of thing. All right, just reading some of you guys' stuff. Backfired on her. Yeah, it did, because did you see how smug Luke looked after, she full on had her tongue in his mouth? I mean, it was full on nasty. You could see the spittle, like, traveling from lip to lip. I went to Michigan a couple years ago. I went up to the, was it the Dune State Park in Michigan? That place was awesome. I also went to Glen Haven. Loved it there. I did get in the lake. It was late summer, so the lake was felt like an iceberg just melted. Chicago is pretty awesome, Leo. I went there a couple years ago as well. Let's see. Yeah, forward to April. Star Wars. Meg spoke about. Oh, that's awesome. I've been missing some of her videos lately. I need to get back with it. I love Meg's stuff. I don't always agree with her, but I love her positive attitude, and I love the way she presents herself. She's even a little less toxic than I am, and I try not to be toxic at all. The importance of resources. Yeah, and that's another thing. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I liked Rebels more than I liked the Clone Wars, and I'll tell you why. Um, because in Rebels there was not nearly as much filler. I'm not going to say every episode had its meaning, but there were no episodes where C-3PO and R2-D2 were off having an adventure with tiny people. Um, there were no Jar Jar saves Queen somebody from the Night Sisters. There was none of that. Um, Most of the episodes had deep meaning. And there was a lot of Mandalorian stuff in Rebels. I wouldn't say more than the Clone Wars. It's probably about equal, but it had more lore for the Mandalorian stuff than the Clone Wars did. Now I try not to be toxic, Knut. I know sometimes my rants can be seen as that way, or I get called a shill or something like that. And whatever. Um, I don't even care. Oh, because I'm not a shill. I just like the things I like. If I say I like bananas, does that mean I'm a shill for the banana companies? No. I mean, I like this place too, Bamboo Bar. I forget where this was. Oh, it's Splitsville in Orlando. This was at Disney. This is a Disney cup. So yeah, I like that place too. I'm with you, Sydney. And I hope Bad Batch Season 2 gets better. I'm not going to say Bad Batch is bad, but I am going to say that I didn't like any of the episodes with Sid. I don't like that the Trandoshan was not a real Trandoshan. That she spoke with a, "How you doing, honey? You want to take this job or not, baby?" And I didn't like that. Just too over the top. It's like, "Oh, you're in my face. Get away. Ugh, your breath smells bad." With the linear story. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because the Clone Wars was not linear. That the way it was released was not chronological. The way it was released was, yeah, the end of the Clone Wars here, the beginning here, the middle here. It's just all over the place. Yeah, Geezer, I'm with you, dude. I want to go to Norway bad. That's where my people were from, Norway and Ireland. So, and Germany as well. So I really want to get to Norway. I've been to Germany, but I've never been to Norway or Ireland. So I want to get to both of those places. I also want to go to Greece, but that's for a whole other reason. Because I want to see the Parthenon. It's just me. Yeah, that's what I thought. They were Swiss. Kyle, thank you. They're a great band. I love In Flames. Um, yeah, I've been listening to them for years. I think they're back together too. I'm not sure. Yeah, season 7 of the Clone Wars was great. Could have done a little bit without some of the Martez stuff, but it also showed what Ahsoka had become and what she'd risen above. So I can't complain too much. She was trying to be a citizen while having these powers, and it was hard for her to be a citizen. Yeah, a little bit Irish. If you could see my beard, there's some red in it other than the gray. My sister's full on redhead. My dad's a redhead. Beautiful place, even if it's just a bit across the border for me. I'd love to go to Norway. Chrono Clone Wars on Vader's lair and prep for Kenobi. Ooh, yeah. I might get back to watching the essential Clone Wars episodes. I've seen all of the Clone Wars like 6 times, but you can never get too much of it. And I really want to. Oh, my wife loves The Mandalorian, and she liked the Book of Boba Fett. She didn't like the Book of Boba Fett as much as The Mandalorian because she likes Grogu and Mando. He's kind of sexy. Tamara Morrison is not sexy to average women, I guess, or normal women. But I'm not saying that's the only reason she liked The Mandalorian. It has great stories too, and she appreciates that. So I'm trying to get her to watch Rebels, and she's just not a cartoon person. I can't even get her to watch Shrek, and I love Shrek. I, I love the Shrek movies. I can't say that enough, but I can't get her to watch Rebels either. So I, I need her to jump in on that. Time is it 8:17? We got about 13 minutes. Did I watch the Clone Wars series from 2003? I have watched some of it. And I'll say why only some of it, because I do not like Gendy Tartakovsky's animation style. It's too rigid for me. It's too out of place. It looks sloppy, honestly. I love Dexter's Laboratory, which Gendy did. I liked Samurai Jack well enough, which was also one of Gendy's shows. But I just couldn't get into the style of uh, of the Clone Wars 2003. It just wasn't jiving with me very well. And people that say that Cad Bane doesn't look like he did in the cartoons, well, no, he doesn't look like he did in the cartoons, but neither did Count Dooku, neither did Anakin, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu look like a Cro-Mag. Um, and none of them look like that in person. Michigan borders Canada. There's never been a disaster here. I live near Army base, and the Coast Guard is right at Cherry Capital Airport. I like Michigan. I love Michigan. If there was a place that has cold weather that I would retire in, it would be Michigan. Northern Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, that sort of area. I've been to Canada once. That was because my cousin was underage at the time and we wanted to get drunk. I was of age, but he was not. So we went to Canada so he could drink. Yeah, it was like a 8-hour drive to Canada just so he could drink. One of the things lost in season 7 is an arc where Ahsoka becomes something of a vigilante on 1313. It looked interesting, but Bo-Katan picked her up right away, so it can't be slotted back in. Oh, that stinks. I didn't know there was another arc. I was upset that the Clone Wars season 7 was only 12 episodes, because every other season had been 20 plus episodes. He kills Shaggy. Nice. What? What did I say, Spider-Man? Yeah, I'm just having too much fun, I guess. But back to the prequels. I like the prequels well enough. The original trilogy is always going to be my favorite. That's what I grew up with as a child. Um, and times were a lot different then than they are now. People now, we don't have to wait for anything, any of us. A movie comes out, boom, we get to watch it. And guess what? We get to watch it a million times over. We get 3 months after it's in the theater, it's on our TVs. It's on Blu-ray. It's on UHD. It's on streaming services. Some movies don't even make it out of the theaters before they're on those platforms. Some don't even go to the theaters and they go straight to those platforms. So we get to watch it over and over and over all the time. Where when I saw Star Wars in 1977, I saw it twice. In the first run, it was there. And then I had to wait 3 more years to see it again. Same thing with The Empire Strikes Back. Actually, I didn't see The Empire Strikes Back 3 years later because they didn't do a double feature. All I saw was Return of the Jedi in '83. And then I had to wait 2 or 3 more years before, or maybe it was a year or two, before they came out on VHS, before I could watch all of them. And I mean, like, we had to make up our own stuff. We had to make up our own adventures and everything. If you didn't remember the movie correctly, you filled in the pieces with your little action figures and stuff. Me, I have a photographic memory. I remembered every moment of the movie, and I could just make my action figures do that thing, except for my Boba Fett. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Took me forever to get that guy, but when I got him through mail order, he didn't have the J slot or the firing rocket, so I was upset. But I still had Boba Fett, and he was cool, and I could make him fly around and shoot people. If I'm a Mandalorian, you're a foundling of Clan Fanatic. Daniel, thank you. I appreciate that. Under drinking age, cousin drinking in Canada. He was of drinking age in Canada. Um, he was 19 at the time. I was 21. So I mean, it took us through hell and high water to get to Canada. We broke down in Michigan, right around Toledo, or no, not Toledo. Maybe we did break down in Toledo, Ohio, somewhere along there. But somehow the car made it to Canada, drove us around Canada, and then made it all the way home without breaking down again. It was just weird. Next during the Kaminoans, I wanted depth on one short Mustafar Club. I'm gonna have to check that out. I haven't been on Disney Plus much. I've been working really hard on this channel, and then when I get done, my wife gets off work, and then we'll watch Yellowstone, or now we're finished with with the 3 seasons of that are on Peacock, or we'll watch The Witcher. Um, don't get me started on that show. She loves it. I'm okay with it. I do make jokes the whole time. Like, I don't know, somehow The Witcher found the titty room. And it embarrassed me a little bit. So, yeah. It's hard to watch The Witcher with the person you love. It's like Game of Thrones season 1. But yeah, so for all of you new who don't know, first off, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that. But for those of you who don't know, I like the sequels for an entirely different reason than what anybody would think. Yes, I think The Last Jedi is cinematically beautiful. The shots are just gorgeous. Those wide angle, colorful, grainy shots is just, it's not clean. It's dirty like the original Star Wars, but that's not the reason I like the sequels. I like the sequels because my mother has been to every Star Wars opening day with me. All 11 films. My mother's been there with me for them. And if I say I hate a Star Wars movie, that's saying I hate an experience with my mom. And I don't know how many more of those I have left, but I want to carry on that tradition with my kids. So I started taking them to the premieres as well as my mom. I mean, sometimes there's like 11 of us going to the premiere to see these Star Wars movies. But I can't say I hate an experience with my mom. So I find the positives in the movies to latch on to and remember those. If that makes any sense. Oh, my wife loves making me uncomfortable with The Witcher. Hey, that's awesome, Daniel. Let me get my helmet and I'll show you guys the progress on that so far. Alrighty, so this was a Ruby's Boba Fett helmet that I had repainted to look like post-Sarlacc. Nothing special. The inside, I put some padding in it and took out the Ruby's stuff that they had. I don't know why you can't see in there. But anyways, so I'm going to paint the visor. All this here. It's going to be like a gold yellow. I've filled in the dent with epoxy resin, or just resin. I still need to sand it a little bit. It's a little, you can feel it right there. And there's a little bit more that needs to be filled in up here, but I'm going to fill it all in and take care of it. But these helmets are cheap. This is, like I said, it's a Ruby's helmet, which they sell on Amazon for like $50. I mean, that's probably the cheapest you're going to get a helmet. You're going to put a lot of work into it. Don't get me wrong. You're going to put a lot of work into it. But I'm trying to make this mine so I can wear it as a cosplay at our local comic book convention when it comes around. And I'm also making the armor. I've got the chest pieces cut out. I just need to get a heating gun so I can form them the way I need them. Then I'll work on the stomach piece, the back piece, shoulders, knees. I might do some leg armor. I'm not really sure yet. I'm not going to do a cod piece. That just looks uncomfortable to walk around in all day. I'm a guy. I don't want to feel that. Hey, thanks, DR. Oh, I can see out of it. The tint that I put in it is the darkest tint you can buy. But I can definitely see out of it. If you can see there. Because I painted it black inside the helmet for that reason. So it'd be black in there, it wouldn't be light, and I'd be able to see out of this dark tint. But yeah, that's my helmet so far. I need to, tomorrow I'll probably fill it in again. And then the next day, over the weekend, do some sanding and hopefully start the painting soon of the helmet. And then hopefully I can get the rest of it taken care of. Reels. I don't know what that is. Ever come to Norwich Road? I recommend visiting the Stav churches, especially. I really don't know how to pronounce anything, so please, Knut, if I mess it up, just slap me or proverbial slap me or something. Horstav Church, where I live. I hope to see you here. Hey, I'd be glad to meet up with you. Our dude Bobby Mariani, who lives in Florida, I met up with him on my way to Disney World and had a couple drinks with him. I don't mind meeting up with anybody, as long as nobody's going to shoot me or something. I don't care. I'll meet up with you. Yeah, I thought Cad Bane looked badass as well. As soon as I saw him, I got chills. He looked kind of evil. He looked a lot more evil than he did in the Clone Wars. He didn't have the cod piece when he climbed out? Well, good, because that thing looked uncomfortable. All right, Spider-Man 96, thank you for joining. And guys, I need to get going as well. My wife's probably up there waiting for me to watch The Witcher. I'd probably rather stay down here and talk to you guys. Not because I don't want to be around her, but because I like talking about Star Wars more than The Witcher. Maybe one day I'll create a second channel for all my other movie and television show endeavors, but I don't know enough about them to even do that. I could do a review on stuff, but I'm going to get called out for not knowing crap about it. Yeah, so I do need to get going, everybody. So I really appreciate you guys for joining me at this time. If I keep them on Thursdays, it'll probably be this time or even later. I was thinking about doing a overnight time one at some point, but it depends on what my job looks like starting Tuesday. Kind of hours I'll be working, that sort of thing. But I could always shift it to a Friday night overnight, do like a sleepover or something. That'd be fun. Star Wars sleepover. Anyways, but I do need to get going, everybody. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you all. I wish you all the greatest health and happiness. You guys are the greatest viewership I've ever encountered on any channel that I've been to. And I've been to a lot of YouTube channels. But you guys are the best ever. So thank you all